Give me the next verse. The scripture says, but after that faith is come, we are no longer under a schoolmaster. Wait a minute. The faith came through Christ. Okay, so now I am no longer under a schoolmaster. Does that mean that I'm not under the law of God? No, it means I'm not under the law of animal sacrifice. Animal sacrifice brought me up to the perfect sacrifice who would die for my sins. So animal sacrifice was a picture. Let me show you. See, you guys know the things in the Old Testament, they're not very clear until you get a concept of the New Testament. So the things in the Old Testament are referred to as shadows. But when Christ came, he was the light, and the light exposes the shadow. Give me Hebrews chapter 10, verse 1. So you can see this is the reason why Timothy, who wrote the book of Hebrews, why do I know that? Because the King James 16:11 at the very last line of Hebrews tells you that Timothy wrote the book of Hebrews. When they translated it in the year 1769, they removed those wording. Okay, now Timothy is saying this. He says, for the law having a shadow of good things to come. What law is he talking about right here? The law of animal sacrifice having a shadow. It's not the light. We know that the law is light, but see, the animal sacrifice, that's a shadow. It's not the light. It's a shadow of good things to come. Well, what's the good thing to come? Christ. And not the very image of the things can never, with those sacrifices which they offered year by year, continually make the comers thereunto perfect. Now, if you don't know that there's two laws, when you read this, it sounds like the law of God is never going to make you perfect, doesn't it? It sounds like that. Give me Psalms chapter 19, verse 7 real quick. I need to find out, because if you don't know that there's two different laws, you're about to find a contradiction in the scriptures. The scripture says the law of Yahawah is what? Wait a minute. See, people are confused by their own mind. The law, wait a minute, you telling me that the law right here is perfect. Well, what's it going to do? The scripture says converting the soul. So if I need to be converted, what do I use? I use the law of the Most High. The testimony of Yahawah is sure, making wise the simple. Now, here, David is telling you that the law is perfect. Take me back to Hebrews chapter 10, verse 1. And here we have Timothy, and he's saying that with those sacrifices which they offered year by year continually, it can never make the people who come to it perfect. Man, that was a big area of confusion until you found out that there was two different laws.